So I will continue the topic in this session 4, that is root locus. A root locus is a technique or method which is used to determine the stability of the system. So here you are going to understand the relationship between closed loop poles and open loop gain. When k is equal to 0, closed loop poles match open loop poles. Closed when k is equal to 0, closed loop poles match open loop poles. When closed loop poles match open loop zeros, hence we can say the closed loop poles start at open loop poles. Closed loop poles start at open loop poles and approaches closed loop zeros as k increases and thus form trajectories. Now, what are the mathematical preliminaries of root locus method? A complex number can be expressed as absolute value and angle pairs. Now, 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0, which implies negative feedback. That is, g of s h of s is equal to minus 1, where h of s is feedback factor. So, the loci of closed loop poles can be determined using the above constraints, particularly the angle of constraints on g of s, h of s. So, magnitude of g of s, h of s is equal to 1 and angle g of s, h of s is equal to plus or minus 180 degree into 2k plus 1. Now, so root locus. The root locus is another classical tool used to study ability of equations of the type given above is root locus. Root locus is another classical tool which is used to study the stability of equations of a control system given above is called as root locus. The root locus approach can be used to examine the location of the roots of the characteristic polynomial as one parameter is varied. So now I am going to consider what are the root locus rules. I am going to explain what are the root locus rules. I will explain briefly from this root locus rules how to construct, what are the rules you have to follow to construct root locus method. So I will first go for first rule is
Yes.
construction rules of root locus are, first rule is the root locus always symmetrical about real axis. The root locus the root locus always symmetrical on, always symmetric about, symmetric about real axis. That means what? About a real axis. That means what? If I draw here real axis, imaginary axis, your root locus, trajectory of root locus must be symmetrical on this real axis of S plane. Okay. So now second rule is the root locus always start from the root locus always start from open loop poles, open loop poles always start from open loop poles and terminates or ends and terminates or end at open loop zeros, at open loop zeros, open loop zeros or infinity, or infinity. So what is the root locus will be start from the open loop poles and it adds on the ends of open loop zeros. How it is possible? You see, if I draw here real axis, imaginary axis, you assume here one pole is here, here it is 1 0. So here to here your root locus will be there, and so it will always from this pole, it will always start from this pole, it ends with 0, open loop 0, or it may be go to here, or it may be go to here. Open from the pole to 0 it will move, or it will go as a from pole infinity. From pole it will go as a this is infinity. It will start from pole to the 0, or it ends with 0, or it will ends with infinity, but starting is from the pole. Okay, this is how your root locus will start and ends. And third rule is the number of branches terminating on infinite. The number of branches terminating on infinite is equal to P minus Z. The number of branches terminating at the infinity is equal to P minus Z, where P is number of poles in the given equation, Z is number of zeros in the given equation. Okay, so for example, you are having the open loop transfer function k divided by s into s plus 1. Here, what are the number of zeros? Zeros means numerator. Here no s terms, so therefore no zeros are there. No zeros over here. In the denominator, this is s is equal to 0, one pole. This is s is equal to minus 1, another pole. So therefore, here number of zeros are 0. Z is equal to 0. Number of poles is 2. Number of poles is equal to 2. That is s is equal to 0 and s is equal to minus 1. So like that. So P minus, therefore number of branches is equal to P minus Z is equal to P is 2 minus 0, the zeros are 0, so only 2 branches in the root locus you are having. So now here if you want to calculate the number of branches in the root locus, you have to follow one condition. What are this condition? If P is poles are greater than zeros, then branch terminates at infinity. Terminates at infinity when poles are greater than 0. If zeros are greater than poles, branch start at infinity. These two conditions you have to keep in mind while doing the number of branches. If P is greater than, poles are greater than 0, branch terminates at infinity. If zeros are greater than P, branch start at infinity. So therefore, your next condition is a point on the real axis is lies on the locus. Next rule of the root locus is a point on the real axis lies on the locus is the number of open loops plus zeros on the real axis to right half of S plane is odd. You see here, a point on the real axis lies on the locus is the number of open loop poles plus zeros on the real axis to right half of the S plane. You see here, if you draw fourth condition, if you draw the root locus like this, this is real axis, this is imaginary axis. If you are having here one pole, here one pole, here one pole, this is 0, one pole, second pole. So if your pole will be, your trajectory will, root locus will start from poles. You will be having the poles from here. Okay, this is first pole, this is second pole, this is third pole. If you want to continue the same root locus, the behind what you have passed in your path in the root locus, that number should be odd. That means if you come to here, you want to continue to this, you have crossed no even number of poles. You have to continue here. What are the poles you have crossed? 1 and 2. So it should be odd. So now if you want to continue your root locus to here, how many poles will be there? Only 2 poles will be there. So 2 is even. So root locus from here to here will not be taking. If you start from here, so what is the root locus number of poles behind this path? 1, 2, 3. So this is like this. Okay, that is the meaning of fourth rule. Now fifth rule is angle of asymptotes. Now you have to calculate the angle of asymptotes. Angle of asymptotes. Angle of asymptotes. So this angle of asymptotes, it depends on, again, if P is poles are greater than 0, P is greater than Z. So angle of asymptotes pi A is equal to 2q plus 1 divided by into 180 divided by P minus Z, where q is equal to 0, 1, 2 up to P minus Z. Angle of asymptotes, if P is poles are greater than 0, angle of asymptotes pi A is equal to 2q plus 1 into 180 degree divided by P minus Z. If Z is greater than P, so angle of asymptotes pi A is equal to 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by Z minus P divided by Z minus P. So that means again q is equal to 0, 1, 2 to P minus Z, Z minus P. Okay, so this is how you are going to calculate the angle of asymptotes. While doing the problem, you will get the where angle of asymptotes will be coming, you will be getting. Okay, now sixth one is centroid. Sixth one is centroid. Centroid. So the asymptotes meet the real axis at centroid. The asymptotes meet the real axis. Meet the real axis. Real axis at the centroid. At the centroid. So what is this centroid? You are having imaginary axis and real axis, imaginary axis. Here you are having 4. So these two asymptotes will meet your real axis, that is called as centroid. Centroid will be presented here sigma c. This is centroid. This is asymptote 1, this is asymptote 2. Okay, so this is centroid. Now centroid can be calculated as sigma is equal to sum of real parts of pole, summation of real parts of poles, okay, minus summation of real parts of zeros, real parts of zeros, parts of zeros, zeros divided by number of poles minus number of z, number of poles minus number of z, p minus z. What is this centroid? How you are going to calculate? From the given equation, depending on the number of zeros and poles, you have to sum or add real parts of the poles and minus you have to add real parts of the zeros. So summation of real parts from the real parts poles, you have to subtract summation of real parts of the zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros. You will be getting centroid. Now you have to calculate seventh rule is breakaway and break-in points. Break away and break-in point. Breakaway and break-in points. How you are going to calculate the breakaway and break-in points? This can be calculated by using dk by ds is equal to 0. What are the breaking points? Okay, so if you are having zeros in negative imaginary parts, this is imaginary, this is real, this is imaginary. If you are having the two zeros like this in the S plane, two zeros, you have to calculate your breaking point like this. Your breaking point will between is joining at this point. The direction of the arrows from the asymptotes or zeros is like this. If you are having, this is your breaking point. Break-in point will be there for zeros. Break-in point. Break-in point will be between two zeros and breakaway point will be in poles, between poles. You see, these are the two poles. This point you are calculated, the arrow mark will be like this from this point. So your arrow mark will be going, this is the breaking point between two poles. The arrow mark is going away from this point. This is called as a, these two are poles, P1 and P2. So this is breakaway point. This is called as breakaway point. Breakaway point, right? This is called as breakaway point. So like this you have to calculate by using dk by ds formula. Now angle of departure and angle of arrival. So what is this angle of departure and what is this angle of departure and angle of arrival? So next is angle of departure and angle of arrival and angle of arrival. So that can be calculated by angle of departure is equal to angle of departure is equal to 180 plus pi. What is this pi? Where pi is equal to pi to pi z minus sum of angle created by poles. Sum of angle created by poles. Angle created by poles. Angle of departure is equal to 180 by 180 plus pi. So where pi is equal to pi z, angle of zeros made by zeros minus sum of the angles created by the poles. Similarly, angle of arrival. So similarly, angle of arrival angle of arrival of open loop zeros it is given as pi z is equal to pi z is equal to 180 pi z is equal to, this is 180 plus pi p is equal to and also here you can represent pi p is equal to plus or minus 180 degree 2q plus 1 into pi. So where pi is equal to this and pi z is equal to, this is your pi p, and pi z is equal to plus or minus 180 degree into 2q plus 1, okay, minus pi. So this pi is equal to pi z, same, pi is same for both the cases. Okay, now the intersection, last one is, this is 9. The last one is intersection of root locus branches with imaginary axis. Last one is intersection of 10th rule is the intersection of root locus branches with imaginary axis can be obtained by using Routh criteria. The intersection of root locus branches with imaginary axis can be obtained by using Routh criteria. You see here, this is your sigma j omega axis. Okay, so how your root locus will crosses at the imaginary axis, that can be calculated by using Routh array criteria. So these are the main important rules of your root locus method. So now I will take an example, small example to understand the root locus method. Your open loop transfer function g of s is equal to k divided by k into s plus 2 I am having. Now step 1, what you have to do? Step 1, to obtain low C, you have to identify to obtain low C. Okay, so to obtain the low C, you have to calculate number of poles. P is equal to how many number of poles? This is number of poles in this above equation is this numerator will represent zeros, denominator will represent poles. Okay, so this is s is equal to 2. Which are those? S is equal to 2 and s is equal to minus 2. 2 poles are there. Is there in your equation number of zeros? S terms are present in numerator? No. So therefore number of zeros will be 0. Next, what you have to calculate? In step 2, you have to calculate number of asymptotes. What is this number of asymptotes? Is equal to p minus z. P is 2 minus 0 is zeros is equal to number of asymptotes are 2. Okay, now I will move on to third step is angle of asymptotes. Third step is step 3. Okay, angle of asymptotes. Angle of asymptotes. What is this angle of asymptotes? Angle of asymptotes is given as theta is equal to 2 into x plus 1 or q plus 1 divided by p minus z into 180 into 180. So x will takes the values 0 comma 1 because here only two poles are there. So number of asymptotes are 2. If suppose number of asymptotes are 3, to get the theta asymptotes value, angles value, you have to put 0, 1, 2 like that. So number of asymptotes is equal to 2. I am putting the values for this asymptote angle x is equal to 0 comma 1. So at x is equal to 0, theta is equal to what? Theta you will be getting 90 degree, and x is equal to 1, you will be getting theta is equal to 270 degree, right? You put here x is equal to 0, so it will become 0. 1 divided by 2, 180 by 2 means what? It is 90 degree. S is equal to 2, 1 you can put 2 plus 1, 3. 3 into 180 is 540. 540 divided by 2 means what? It is 270, right? No? Like that you have to calculate the asymptote angles. So now step 4 is calculate centroid of asymptotes. Step 4 is calculate centroid of asymptotes. Centroid of asymptotes. Centroid of asymptotes. Okay. So how you are going to write? Centroid of asymptote sigma c is equal to summation of real part of poles minus summation of real part of zeros. Real part of zeros divided by p minus z is p minus z. Okay. So from this, real part of poles is what? From the equation, real part of poles is, you see, this is real part. It is not having any real part. This is your 2. Okay. So real part of zeros are 0. So therefore, I am going to write sum of real parts is equal to minus 2 minus 0 divided by 2 is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 is the centroid point on the negative real part. Now you have to calculate the next is step 5 breakaway point. Step 5 is breakaway point. Breakaway point will be present in poles. So to get the breakaway point, you consider characteristic equation. What is your characteristic equation? You have to get the characteristic equation. You make it 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. What is your? So 1 plus g of s is k divided by s into s plus 2 is equal to 0. Because here unity feedback is there, h of s is equal to 1, right? So therefore you will be getting s square plus 2s plus k is equal to 0. Therefore k is equal to minus s square minus 2s. So now you have to calculate dk by ds. dk by ds is equal to 0. dk by ds is equal to what? dk by ds is equal to minus 2s minus 2 is equal to 0. So therefore s is equal to minus 1. Therefore s is equal to what? Minus 1 is the breakaway point, and the centroid of the your asymptotes is also x is equal to 1. Now you have to calculate intersection of imaginary axis. Now you have to calculate intersection of imaginary axis. Step 6. Step 6, intersection of imaginary axis. Imaginary axis. So what is this intersection of imaginary axis? I told it is the intersection point on the imaginary axis from the root locus, trajectory or curve. So to get this imaginary axis, you have to consider 1 plus g of s characteristic equation. Consider characteristics equation, that is 1 plus g of s into h of s is equal to 0, which implies above it is calculated already. This is s square plus 2s plus k is the characteristic equation. So s square plus 2s plus k is equal to 0. Directly you may write, okay, because first time here to find out the breakaway point you have calculated the characteristic equation. To find out the intersection of imaginary axis, you can directly consider this characteristic equation. And now using from this characteristic equation, you have to find out root array. So s square, s1, s0 you write, s square is equal to 1, and then second is k, and then 2 and 0, 2 and 0. What is your s0? S0 is again 0. So here first row out in the root table, we are going to consider all are positive, but k should be greater than 0. We have k is greater than 0. This is your k, this is your k, k is greater than 0. Therefore here k is greater than 0. No marginally, no, k is marginally stable, marginally stable, k is marginally stable. There is no intersecting of imaginary axis, there is no intersecting of imaginary axis. After this I will draw all these, for all these what is steps what I have calculated, I will draw the root locus like this. First you draw real axis and imaginary axis. This is real, this is imaginary, okay. Now you mark where is your poles. Poles is you are having s is equal to 0, this is one pole, and s is equal to minus 2, s is equal to you are having minus 2 is another pole, right? No, this is s is equal to minus 2, this is s is equal to 0, 2 poles. Now you have to mark centroid asymptotes. Asymptotes will be, one is asymptotes is equal to minus 1. So if this is 0, if this is minus 1, it will be in between. This is minus 1, where your asymptote is, one asymptote is 90 degree, theta is equal to 90 degree, this is one asymptote, and this is 270 degree, this is second asymptote, this is at 270, this is sigma c is equal to minus 1 asymptote, okay. At the same time at minus 1 you are having breakaway point, at minus 1 s breakaway point, because it is between the poles, s breakaway point, that is s is equal to minus 1, s is equal to minus 1, this is the breakaway point. So when you are having the breakaway point between the poles, your direction is going outside from the breakaway point, going outside from the breakaway point. If your breakaway point, this point between the two zeros, it is called as a break-in point, these two directions will be inside to the point, okay. So breakaway point. So now at s is equal to 0, your k is equal to 0, at and here according to your, you listen to draw. So from one pole you can emit one line, this is a root locus, one pole, this is a one line, and then so if you are going from the second pole outside direction, no, so you have to draw your meeting point from the second pole also like this, second pole also like this. So therefore your root locus is like this, right? So this is at k is equal to infinity, this is at k is equal to infinity. So here line of root locus, always line of root locus will start at poles. From one pole it will, one line will be emerge, and the emerged line from one pole will be end at pole 0, or it will be end at infinite. Okay, this you have to keep in mind. So from one pole there should not be generate two lines. Okay, so this is how you have to draw the. And now I will go for another one example, second example. Okay, so it is on root locus. So draw the root locus for feedback control system has the open loop transfer function OLTF, open loop transfer function. G of S is equal to H of S is equal to K into S plus 2 into S plus 3 divided by S plus 1 into S minus 1. This is your open loop transfer function, which is having, find the root locus where k varies from 0 to infinity. Find a root locus where k ranges from 0 to infinity. So this is your open loop transfer function, k into s plus 2 into s plus 3 divided by s plus 1 s minus 1. So by observing this open loop transfer function, these are the zeros in the numerator you are having poles. So far you have not seen s terms in any problem. Here s terms are, that means you are having zeros also and poles also. So now I will move on how to calculate one. Now step 1 is identify number of loci. Step 1 is identify number of loci. Okay, so identify number of loci means what? The maximum p comma z, that is p number of poles, or number of poles s is equal to, this is minus 1. So number of poles is p is equal to what? 2. That is p is equal to, s is equal to minus 1 pole, s is equal to plus 1 pole, z is equal to, s is equal to zeros, s is equal to 2, that is z is equal to, s is equal to minus 2 and s is equal to minus 3, 2 poles. So number of loci, identify number of loci is equal to p minus z is equal to 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. So now number of loci is equal to 2. Number of loci is equal to 2. So now number of asymptotes. Second step, number of asymptotes is equal to p minus z is equal to 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. Okay, no asymptotes will be present. So step number 3, breakaway point. You have to find out breakaway point. So you have to consider, to find out the breakaway point, characteristic equation. What is this characteristic equation? Characteristic equation 1 plus, which implies 1 plus g of s h of s is equal to 0. So it implies 1 plus k into s plus 2 into s plus 3. This is from g of s from the given equation. So divided by s plus 1 into s minus 1 is equal to 0. So k is equal to what? K is equal to minus s plus 1 into s minus 1 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3. S plus 3. So k is equal to what? K is equal to minus s square minus 1 divided by s plus 2 into s plus 3, right? So which implies k is equal to minus s square minus 1 divided by s square plus 5s plus 6 is equal to 0. If you take this here, it will become 0. So k is equal to, will be remaining with k is equal to s square minus 1 you will be getting divided by s square plus 5s plus 6. So to find dk by ds, is equal to 0. So therefore you will be getting dk by ds is equal to s square 5s plus 6 into 2s because it is in the form of u by v. D by dx of u by v is equal to v into denominator into derivative of the numerator minus numerator into derivative of the denominator divided by denominator square. Depending on that we are doing minus s square minus 1 into 2s plus 5. So whole divided by s square plus 5s plus 6 is equal to 0. Now here after simplification you will be getting 2s cube plus 10s square plus 12s minus 2s cube, okay, minus 5s square plus 2s plus 5 is equal to 0. So which implies 5s square s cube get cancelled, 5s square plus 14s plus 5 is equal to 0. So from this characteristic equation you have to find the root directly by using the solution for this. S is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac divided by 2 into a. So here minus 14 plus or minus root of b square is 14 square minus 4 into 5 into 5 divided by 2 into 5. So using calculator you will be getting s1 is equal to minus 0.421 root and s2 is equal to, okay, minus 2.37 in another root. Okay, so now here no need of calculating other parameter because there is no intersection of imaginary axis. Okay, here no need of calculating other parameters, break-in point, breakaway point, angle of asymptotes, because asymptotes are not, because your S1 and S2 are at the, you see your graph is here, same thing, your graph is looking like this. So how it looks? Minus 2.37. I will draw the root locus. This is real, this is imaginary. So this is your 0. So this is your pole is at what? Minus imaginary axis. So your pole is at minus 1 and 2 zeros at plus 1. This is plus 1 pole, s is equal to plus 1 and This is s is equal to -1, s is equal to -1, other 4. This is pole 0, s is equal to -2, and this is, here you are having zeros, s is equal to -3, right? So you are having, this is your root locus, this is at minus 0.42, this is at minus 0.42, and this is at 2.37. okay, here it is breaking point like this, here it is breaking point like this. So you are going to join your angle like this, then you come to the point like this, this is your point, this is at k is equal to 0, this is at k is equal to infinity, this is at k is equal to infinity. Okay, this is how your graph will be, root locus will be getting. So I hope this is sufficient for your root locus method. Now I will consider next problems in root locus continuation. Okay, thank you. I will stop this session.